The PlayAction Podcast is fueled by Picasso's Pizza, where every night is pizza night.
Welcome to the PlayAction Podcast Season Preview Edition. We have been hard at work the past couple of weeks working on stories for our Bills preview section, which is going to come out in the print edition on Thursday, September 5th, and is going to be rolled out digitally online all next week. So look for that. And let's talk now. Let's open by talking about some of the stories we worked on for our season preview edition.
Yeah,
Katherine,
14 pages worth, right?
Okay, all right. Katherine, you worked more on defense than offense. Tell us a little bit about what you got going in the section.
Yeah, I wrote all about the defense, two separate stories. The first looking at kind of the state of the safety position. You know, I think that's still a cause for a little concern for the Bills just based off time on task together. And they've been candid about that. You know, I think I talked to a bunch of different coaches, players for this story, and they are generally optimistic. But Sean McDermott said himself that, you know, they haven't had all that learning and understanding with Taylor Rapp in there, the rotating cast of guys who have been injured or just kind of figuring out who's going to play. And he said, you know, the communication and the symmetry that develops over the course of many reps together, we probably won't have that to start the year, but we'll find our way.
One bit of good news on the health of the safeties,
Yes.
which 2 weeks ago was a huge question mark. It kind of looks like Mike Edwards, the free agent signee from Kansas City, probably is going to be ready, or at least he's trending in the right direction. We've suspected all along he was going to start opposite Taylor Rapp. Basically, he's had nothing, no training camp except for 3 days, no spring. Damar Hamlin is trending in the right direction, too, with he has been dealing with a hamstring, right? And Cole Bishop, the rookie, has dealt with a shoulder injury. He's trending in the right direction, so it looks like they're all going to be available, we're suspecting. You talked to Joe Dana, the safeties coach. What did he have to say?
I did, and he was very positive, kind of trying to focus on the silver linings, which you don't want guys to miss time, but he was saying how that gave them a chance to get looks at everyone. Guys could get kind of a different lens on the game when they were on the sideline, and, you know, I think some of that is kind of trying to make a positive out of the situation when you would prefer guys to be healthy. But what I found really interesting was I asked him about the identity of the group. You know, it's seen so much turnover from last year, and he was saying there's a quiet confidence to this group. And I think that'll be, you know, important to see how that keeps growing. He acknowledged it's early in the year, so that identity will keep developing, but that's what he's seeing right now.
And the thing we don't know is just how will they be able to replace the level of playmaking they got, which is a lot to ask. You think of all the big plays Jordan Poyer made, even going back to the playoff loss against Kansas City when he punched the ball out at the 1 yard line to basically save the game.
Yes.
At the time. So the playmaking, will it be there? Really, we don't know. The other guy you talked to, Dorian Williams.
Yeah, so Dorian Williams is stepping into a huge role with Matt Milano. On IR, the Bills have left open the door for him to come back, but there's no timeline on that at all. So Williams is being thrust.
December.
Yeah,
right.
Being thrust into this role. And what I really loved about this story was talking to some of his family, some of his coaches from high school level, college level, all around, just about, you know, kind of what makes him a resilient guy, because that's what I was hearing over and over. And one story I really loved from his mom, she was telling me how he was always helping his friends with whatever they can. You know, they need a ride, he's coming to get them. They need anything. But she mentioned roadside assistance. And she called him one time just to check in during college. And he was like, Mom, I can't talk right now. I'm fixing my friend's car. She goes, Dorian, you don't know how to fix a car. And he goes, no, but I knew how to drive to my friend to get there, and I'm figuring it out as we go.
Okay.
So he's a problem solver, you know,
Yeah.
and he's not afraid to show up for people when they need him and then figure it out from there.
And that's the kind of guy who fits Sean McDermott's culture.
Very much so. So I think kind of all the steps throughout his life, there's been a lot of, you know, loyalty to the people around him, close-knitness, and now he's, you know, hopefully ready for this moment because the Bills are going to be putting a lot on him.
He's, certainly physical.
Yeah.
I think he's shown good things in the run support, and he is a really good blitzer. In fact, Bobby Babich said I wouldn't want to block him.
Yeah.
He comes like a freight train when they blitz him. The question is, does he have? He's asking a lot for him to replicate Matt Milano's instincts in pass coverage. So we will see on that. I worked mostly on the offensive side of the ball, so I did a story on what to expect from Joe Brady's offense. And a lot of it has to do with trends in the NFL and the way defenses are defending elite quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen get defended in very similar ways, even though they have different skill people around them, because defenses sit back, protect, don't give up the cheap deep, and then mix in blitzes. So you've got to beat them underneath with the running game and possession passes, and then block them up and throw them over the top when they blitz. So that is the challenge for both Allen and Mahomes. And both of them struggled to some degree last season, although the Bills, certainly had a great offense. They were sixth in the league. But Josh has to be patient, and he was patient last year. He completed, according to our charting, 50 more passes within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage last year than he did the year before. So I think the middle of the field passing game is going to be a great strength with Khalil Shakir and Dalton Kincaid, and I think the Bills are going to really count. I think you saw James Cook's touches go up with Joe Brady.
Right.
He was averaging 14 touches a game under Ken Dorsey. He got 20 touches a game under Joe Brady. That's going to continue, and the Bills feel like they have a powerful offensive line with Torrance and McGovern, two power blockers in particular, and Deion Dawkins is about as powerful as you get at left tackle. They are going to make defenses pay for playing soft and make them march, and I think that's going to be a strength of the team. Now, when teams do blitz or when teams do play man coverage, how will the new receiving corps do? That's going to be a big question, and that is part of what gets analyzed in our preview story. But that would be a question mark facing the offense.
I'm excited to read it. There's so much to read. Now the Bills open their season at home against the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals went 4-13 last season. Tough.
Yeah.
But I'm interested in this matchup. Mark, what stands out to you?
Well, I think all Bills fans saw when the schedule came out and marked this down as a W. 4-13. You get a 4-13 team come into Buffalo making a cross-country trip. And, I'm not going to say I think the Bills, this is a good matchup for the Bills, but this is I would call it a sneaky, pesky matchup.
Okay.
Arizona, it has some strengths that that casual NFL fans may not appreciate, and that is their offense, their rushing offense. So the Bills' offense better show up in this opener because the defense has the harder challenge in this one. Arizona, when their offense kind of got going the latter half of the season, Kyler Murray came back from injury, and their running game ranked 4th in the NFL last year.
Yeah.
They can power up with tight ends. Kyler Murray can run the read option, and he's a threat with his legs. People again. James Conner doesn't, send off any alarm bells to average fans, but he did gain 1,000 yards, and they drafted rookie third rounder Trey Benson out of Florida State, who's got 4.39 speed. He is a really dangerous. He looked good in the preseason, breaking tackles, being shifty. He's a dangerous change of pace. So they got a little bit of a thunder and lightning. They got the threat of the quarterback run. They were 4th in the NFL in rushing last year. This is going to the Bills' defense has a sneaky, tough challenge in this opener because Arizona can move the ball.
Kyler Murray is really fun to watch. I covered him for 2 years in Arizona, and I think just, from a pure football standpoint, I feel he and Josh Allen are not the same players by any means, but I think kind of just the love of the game. It's so fun to watch them play. And so I think that'll be, they're not on the field at the same time, obviously, but I think that's a really fun quarterback matchup.
He can extend plays,
Yeah.
as, Bills fans all remember in the Hail Murray play. But so, the flip side, though, the other side of the ball, their defense very much is a work in progress.
Yeah.
25th in the NFL last year, 32nd in third downs. The Bills have been the number one on third down offense last year, and I think 3 of the last 4 years. So that's a huge mismatch. They don't have a lot of real elite, big reputation pass rushers. Their defensive coordinator is Nick Relish is the youngest defensive coordinator in the league, 31 years old. They're going to bring the blitz a lot. They have a dangerous safety, Buda Baker, who's elite.
Yeah.
But the Bills' offense, and so they're going to want their running game, which is really good, to stay on the field and keep the Bills' offense and their own defense off the field.
Right.
So yes, the Bills. The Bills. This is a tough matchup for the Arizona defense. Buda Baker, you're familiar with him?
Yeah, covered him. I covered the Cardinals for 3 years, so
Right.
he was there the whole time. He, again, just a fascinating playmaker. I think also just kind of the way he's evolved his game over the years has been really fun to watch, his dedication to the game.
Yeah, and Buda Baker is a thumper, a playmaker, dangerous blitzer. I think the Cardinals are gonna, try to mix it up, and I think if the Bills getting a lot of if the Bills running game can't get going, if the Bills getting third and long, watch out for Buda Baker. Conversely, if the Bills are gonna, I think Arizona. If you're Arizona's defensive coordinator, you're going to say, let's see how good this new receiving core is, right? Make them prove it to us. Let's gang up on the run game, gang up on James Cook, and see just how good these guys are. Can they beat our secondary? So that's going to be the big part of the chess match for the Cardinals defense. For our third segment here on the PlayAction Podcast, we are going to go big picture, peer into our crystal ball, and make our predictions on some of the key questions for the season. We have a series of them. Katherine, you go first.
Okay, well, let's start with the offense. Last year they were 6th in points. Mark, do you think they're going to be better or worse?
I'm going to say worse.
Okay.
The schedule is toughest in the league, but I am bullish on the offense. I just think only slightly worse.
I'll echo worse in the sense of very slightly. Just, I don't think it's that the offense is taking such a step back. I just think that's 6 is a
High bar.
High bar. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Second question. Same idea. Defense. I think people might be a little surprised to remember that the Bills' defense was 4th in the NFL in points allowed. 4th best in the NFL in points allowed. This might be an easy one. Okay, what do you say? Better or worse than 4th?
Again, that's such a high bar. I'm going to go worse here.
Yeah, I'm going to say worse too. And also, you think about some of the quarterbacks the Bills played last year. The Jets lost Aaron Rodgers. Refresh my memory. Who did they place in the Los Angeles Chargers?
Oh my God!
It wasn't
what's his
Justin
name?
Herbert.
Eason Stick.
Stick,
Sorry.
right? The unforgettable Eason Stick, who actually played a good game.
He did.
So they faced some weaker quarterbacks. They're facing a really tough schedule. We'll see how tough the AFC East is. That's a whole another can of worms. We've talked about that through the part of the offseason, but still, 4th, high bar. We're both on the same page on that. Worse. Okay, Josh Allen, touchdown passes. Now, he led the NFL in overall touchdowns again last year with 44. He had 15 rushing touchdowns. But let's talk about the passing game. Touchdown passes, he had 29 last year. Over, under?
I'll go over here. I know they're still solving the receiving core, working on rapport with guys and everything, but I still feel I'm going to go over.
I am going to but Josh Allen is somebody I'll bet on.
Yes.
Right. So I'm
I
gonna
think
bet
that's kind
on,
of what
if
it
we're-
boils
of all
down
the
to.
players on the roster you want to bet on or not bet on, Josh Allen, I'll bet on him. I'm going to go over 29. I'd say 15 rushing touchdowns. I still think he's going to gain a lot of rushing touchdowns. But I don't know if 15 is a lot of rushing touchdowns. He might be less than that. But I'll go over 29. I think he'll hit 30. Okay. Next question. My turn. Bills sacks by the defense. Again, fans might be surprised to remember that they had 54 sacks last year. They were fourth most sacks in the NFL. Of course, Leonard Floyd, who had
Yes.
10 and a half, isn't here. Von Miller had none. So, 54 sacks, over under.
That's a hard one. Because I think I was so surprised when I heard that number.
Yeah.
I think I'll go under.
Yeah.
How about you?
I'm gonna go under too. Actually, I think Von Miller looks pretty good.
You've been high on
I've
Von.
been high on Von. Of course, we won't know. Again, preseason being, such a meaningless exercise. We haven't seen him, but I think he's looked pretty good in preseason. I think he's not going to whiff. I think he's going to be back. He had 8 sacks in 11 games before he got hurt in the 2022 season. If you project that to a full season, it's 12. I don't know if he gets to 12, but I think he's going to have an 8 at least.
Yeah,
So
I don't see him getting to 12.
I'll say under 54 though. That's a tremendous. That's to get 54. Von and Rousseau probably have to hit 10.
Yeah, another big year from Ed Oliver.
And that could happen,
Yeah.
but yeah, 54 is a lot. Under there. Your turn.
All right, let's bounce back to offense. Khalil Shakir, over under 60 catches.
He had 39 last year. I'm bullish on Shakir.
Yes.
I am
You picked
bullish.
the number, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's over 60 in the slot. He also, I think Vegas has his over-under yards at 750. I like the over on that. I am bullish on Shakir.
I'll go under then, just
Okay.
for a little contrast.
Okay.
I still think he's going to be a big part of this offense and be productive. I don't know about that, John.
Well, see, one reason that it might be under, you could be bullish on Shakir, but say it's under because there's only one ball to go around.
Yeah.
Right? And so if you're thinking Kincaid had 73 catches, he's going to catch more.
Yeah.
You could say, well, Curtis Samuel, if he's healthy the whole year, could take away some of those Shakir catches. So that's why it's not a slam dunk, bet, if you will, over and under. But I'm still saying over. You got under. We'll see. My turn. Okay, Keon Coleman. Has been a massive topic of conversation since April 29th when they drafted him. Okay, Gabe Davis had 47 catches last year. Keon Coleman, over under Gabe's total of 47.
I'll go over here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I've liked what I've seen from him. I think he's going to be a big part of this offense, and I think, once he's got it figured out, he's going to be lethal. So I'm
Yeah.
really excited to see him.
Yeah, I think that is something to really that is a good point when he gets it figured out. You think about some other big a guy that comes to mind, Green Bay's Christian Watson,
Yeah.
who wasn't drafted as high, I don't think, as Keon, and his rookie year. He took off the second half of the season,
Yeah.
and he's been a really good receiver. I think Keon, I think people need to be a little patient with him.
Yes.
I do think the idea is that in the grand scheme, they picked him so that he will be a more consistent receiver than Gabe, right?
Yes.
So, winning more on underneath routes than Gabe. I think that's what the idea is. Will he be able to do that this year? I'm going to say under.
Okay.
You got over. I'm going to go under 47. Rookie receivers are, it's not always an instant hit. So we'll see on that one. That's a key question facing the team. Last one.
All right, let's round it out with Bills wins.
Okay.
Now Vegas has them the over/under at 10.5.
Right.
Where are you seeing them?
Yeah, I've been under all off season. I'm gonna go under.
Okay.
I'm gonna say 10. And again, I don't think that is terrible. I think if they, given the tough schedule they're facing and
Right.
the tough division, I think if they, I think fans right now entering the season would say if they win 9, that's a big disappointment. 10 fans could maybe be accepting of. 11, I think, wins the division because it's a tough division.
It is a tough division.
Right. So, or we think it's as long as Aaron Rodgers, doesn't is somewhat a semblance of what he was in Green Bay. It's a tough division. So I'm going to say under. I'm going to put him at 10. It's Vegas. They're so good. They're so close. It's going to be close.
It's a hard call. I'll go 11. I'll
Okay.
go over just for, again, a little contrast, but I don't know. I think they can string together 11 wins.
Yeah.
And even if they do it in the weird way they usually do,
Yeah.
I think they can get there.
So much of that over/under depends on how much goes right
Yes.
for Miami and the Jets.
Yeah.
How tough are they? Like, okay, the Jets are banking on all these things have to go right with their injured guys.
Exactly.
A 40-year-old quarterback coming off an Achilles. Okay, and they've got a receiver, Mike Williams, coming off an ACL, and who's starting on injured. And they got the tackle, who's great when he plays, but he misses games all the time. So all those buttons, some team is going to have everything go right. But you could easily make the case not everything is going to go right for the Jets. Miami has a great offense, but their defense doesn't look better than it was last year. You could easily make the case not everything's going to go right. So things are going to be tough for the Bills if a lot of those things go right for Miami and the Jets. I got them under. You got them over.
Good contrast all throughout
Okay.
this. Yeah, a lot to talk about. We have so much for y'all to read on buffalonews.com, and then we'll be back after the Arizona game to keep podcasting. So make sure you're subscribing wherever you're listening and keep reading along.
Treat your team to the most flavorful pizza on game day at Picasso's Pizza. 4 great Western New York locations: Williamsville, West Seneca, Lancaster, and Blaisdell. Picasso's. We are Buffalo's Pizza since 1980. Order online today at picassospizza.net.